guys, thank you for listening to the Talk About Football podcast. This podcast is sponsored by the NFLWire.net. You know, if you want to keep track of any NFL news during the week, interested about anything going on in the NFL, they upload multiple articles a day about all the latest news around the NFL. We're also adding a podcast every Wednesday now, too, and we'll be talking about fantasy football, news that happened earlier in the week, and our Thursday night predictions. And we hope you all can listen and enjoy our Wednesday podcast. I'm your host, JT. Alongside next to me is Chris.
How y'all doing today?
And let's get started with the results of Thursday's games.
So on Thursday's game, it was the Chiefs at Broncos, and we both went 2-0. So we're both 2-0
for Thursday night games.
Yep. And the Chiefs won 30-6.
Yeah.
So we have,
big game for the Chiefs.
So we have a little bit of news on the game.
But bad news for their quarterback.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes dislocated his knee. Will be out for at least minimum 3 weeks.
How do you think that affects the Chiefs?
They have a hard schedule coming up anyways. I think, they're going to have to focus on the run game, something that they're not used to.
I do too. They're not going to be able to have that weapon with throwing the ball as much anymore. They got to have to establish a good run game and play good defense.
That's what it comes down to, really. And, Matt Moore, veteran in the league, 38 years old. And he actually scouted Kyler Murray in this last draft class. Some good information, but let's see how he can hold up as the new starting quarterback for the Chiefs.
We'll see. So now let's dive right into our Sunday predictions. Our first game, we got the Raiders at the Packers. I have the Packers beating the Raiders 24-14.
It's a good score. I have Packers beating the Raiders 23-17.
Yeah, I think, the Packers are going to be without Davante Adams, which is going to be a big factor down the field for Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to have to establish the run game more. They are at Lambeau, so that's going to help. It's probably going to be cold. That'll be a factor. Look for a lot of run game. Look to pound the rock a lot. And, I don't think that Raiders defense is going to be able to put up with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau.
One thing I put down was Josh Jacobs has reports came out saying that he will be more involved in the passing game. So you have Josh Jacobs in the running game and Josh Jacobs in the passing game as well, which is really good for the Raiders, knowing that with the absence of Tyrell Williams, that you have a good playmaker in Josh Jacobs going to be catching the ball in the backfield, and also running the ball.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that Packers defense is legit. The Smith brothers are ridiculous.
Yeah, the Packers defense is legit, and especially at home. They're lights out at home.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who you have as a receiver for Aaron Rodgers. If you have Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball anyway, he will get the ball to the receivers.
He'll find even without Adams. He'll find.
You still got Jimmy Graham, who's kind of going unnoticed,
under the radar a little bit.
But I'm excited for the game. I want to see how Rodgers uses the running game with Aaron Jones, and I'm excited to see what Josh Jacobs does.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. We're gonna have to watch and see. But I think the Packers get the best of the Raiders here.
Agreed.
Moving on to the next game, we got the Rams at the Falcons, and the way the Falcons have been playing, I got the Rams winning this one 31-17. Even though it's in Atlanta, Matt Ryan and we talk about this a lot, and Matt Ryan, he's got all those weapons around. You got Julio and you got Sanu and all these other guys around you, and he's just not getting it done.
Yeah, I have the Rams winning 28-24. I have a close game. Matt Ryan's been playing fantastic. He could be the first quarterback in the modern day era to throw 300 yards in his first 7 games, which is massive.
It's huge, but
it's a lot of it is the defense.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The Falcons' defense they haven't been helping any. I mean, you score points to win a game, but you also need defense to win a game. Defense wins championships and football games. Matt Ryan will go down and score, but then the defense will let up more points. You can't rely on your offense to get everything. You got to have your defense step up to the plate.
I'm also excited to see what the Rams use with Jalen Ramsey. Their new toy. I want to see. He's gonna be.
He's a good fit for that secondary.
Yeah, he's gonna be locked up on Julio Jones. So you gotta watch Calvin Ridley, Austin Hooper, and Mohamed Sanu get more into the passing game, which Mohamed Sanu has been really involved lately. So you got to watch Calvin Ridley start getting back involved, and then Austin Hooper, and then once in a while look for Julio Jones. But, with the Rams getting Jalen Ramsey, losing Marcus Peters, it was a massive upgrade.
It was a big upgrade because Jalen Ramsey is the best cornerback in the league.
Oh, 100%. But then I like to see when you have a top 3 wide receiver on you now on a different team. Let's see how he performs. Yeah, so I'm very interested to see how that performs.
I can't wait to watch that game too. Next game we got the 49ers at the Redskins. 49ers are going to be undefeated after this week too. I have them winning 28-13 over
I have the same score as you.
Do you really?
I have the same score as you.
So, watching the 49ers play last week, they just look unstoppable. Like they're just gross in both defense and both offense. I don't see a weakness in that team.
The weakness will be definitely the offense compared to the defense. That defense is nasty.
But when your defense plays that well, it's hard to see a weakness anywhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100% agree.
When your defense is playing lights out like that, and your offense doesn't have to put that, and that takes the pressure off your offense. If let's say they go a 3-and-out or they got a punt, your defense is right there to back you up. But that's a good thing that the 49ers have. Love this team, man. They're a great team.
And one thing I put on my notes was you need to get George Kittle more involved. He's been very quiet lately.
George Kittle, he's been very quiet, and he looks like a ghost out there.
He had a really good game last week, and I think this is hopefully that was his coming out game. He get back into what he was doing the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But against a safety like Landon Collins, who is mediocre at coverage.
Yeah, so you got to beat him in many different ways.
And he's going to be lined up on the safety. George Kittle's going to be lined up on the safety a bunch. And if you can make Landon Collins go inside of you and you can bounce outside, you will beat Landon Collins with speed.
100%.
And the 100%. Run game will open that up. With Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, that run game will open it up. The 49ers are just one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, they
on both sides of the ball.
They're just a great team, and I have nothing against 49ers. I really like this team a lot.
Yeah, they're gonna be one of the good teams going through this rest of the season.
Moving on, we got the Texans at the Colts. This is one of my favorite games of the week. I got the Texans winning by 1 point, 21-20 over the Colts. And, I don't know. I'm just confident. That win in Kansas City, just that put confidence in me, and I know that put confidence in that team. Going into Indianapolis, see, if you can win in Kansas City, your mindset should be you can go in anywhere and win. You know what I mean?
Well, both these teams beat Kansas City. Colts beat Kansas City, and Texans beat Kansas City.
They did. This is good. These are two, both, I think, playoff teams. Two strong teams going at each other. It's going to be a great game. I got 21-20 Texans.
And one thing I would say about the Colts is the Colts need to get pressure to Deshaun Watson on the weak side of the O-line.
Yep, they do. Because if you give him too much time, he's got a whole escape route.
And you have Titus Howard, your first-round draft pick, right tackle, out for the remainder of the season. We don't know yet with an MCL tear. Mm-hmm. He's still getting second and third opinions.
Yeah, that'll be a big loss.
But with him over on that side of the field, Deshaun Watson likes to run to the right side. Laramie Tunsil's on the left side covering his blind spot, but Deshaun Watson likes to pull out and run to the right side. Yeah. So if you can get pressure to him, I think the Colts it'll be a very good day for the Colts, but I still think the Texans will win 28-24.
Okay.
And
So we both got pretty close scores here
yeah,
for that game. It's going to be a great game. Can't wait to watch that.
and I think Jacoby Brissett, still young, still learning, and what will bite him in the butt is his ability to hand the ball off, make the right read, know what to do. I know he was in the QB room with Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo a couple years back, but that doesn't mean that you are one of those players. I think he still has a lot to learn. He's definitely the third person in that group of three I just said. He has a lot to learn, but he's been doing really well. But I think one mistake will change the outcome of this game.
Yep, I do too. I think one interception, a fumble, something to that sort will decide this game. So you got to play perfect football. These two teams do. Next, we got the Vikings at the Lions. I actually have the Lions winning this game 20-17. I love Matt Patricia. I said this, I believe, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Great coach. I love what he's doing. Think he's got to run the ball a little more. And if they establish both a good run game and they go to the air, the Lions are at home. I really like this team in this game. That's my prediction on that. I think the Lions are going to win 20-17.
See, my thing is I have Vikings at Lions. I have Vikings 21, Lions 17. I do like what you're saying about the Lions. This was probably one of the toughest games to try to pick one because I like the Vikings a bunch. The Vikings are doing great things finally with passing the ball, getting Stephon Diggs,
Stephon
3
Diggs
touchdowns
big,
last week.
3 touchdowns last week, like you just said. But I have confidence in the Lions in this game.
I think the Vikings have a better defense than the Lions, but the Lions' defense is nothing to. It's a good defense.
It's a more than average defense. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like the Lions, they've lost some games, but you know how like they're playing good games every week. They're putting up a battle every week, and I think that every week, even though if it's a loss, you put up a good battle against a good team. I think that's good enough. Build enough confidence to get a win at home against another good team.
I would like to agree with you on that, because I do agree with you, but I don't agree with the pick. I like the Vikings better. I like Dalvin Cook. He has, they have better receivers, a better quarterback, better running back on the offense side of the ball. And defense, I think they have better defense. I don't like Mike Zimmer. I like Matt Patricia way better. Matt Patricia's still young, still trying to call the right plays and still trying to manage the game better. As you saw last week, it didn't go so well at the end of the game for him. But if the Lions played like they did in the beginning of that game against the Packers, you could see a good team win for the Lions. But if the Vikings came out and did what they did against the Eagles in the first half, then I think the Lions will be in.
It's going to be an interesting game no matter what. I mean,
I think it's a high-scoring game in my opinion with the two offenses. I think it can be a very high-scoring game.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I just don't agree with your pick, and you don't agree with my pick. I
like Marvin Jones in this game.
Yeah,
I like Marvin Jones to come out big. I think way better than Kenny Golladay. I think Marvin Jones has a better all-around day than Kenny Golladay on the Lions side of the ball.
Yeah, for sure. I like that point. Just don't agree with the prediction. Let's move on to the Jaguars at the Bengals. My score is Jags 27, Bengals L.
You calling 0 points?
No. Jags 27, Bengals 10, but Bengals aren't going to win anytime soon. So
I have Jags 23, Bengals 13. Gardner Minshew is going to get the ball to DJ Chark like he normally does.
Yeah, and Chark's huge for them.
And I think Leonard Fournette is going to be the biggest name on the field.
I really like Leonard Fournette.
He's finally.
Are the Jags a playoff team?
No.
You think? No?
No.
Me either.
After losing
Too young.
After losing Jalen Ramsey, no. But if they still had Jalen Ramsey and he actually wanted to play for the team like he used to, then sure, I would say they're a playoff team. But no, because now you have to have the cornerback that's been filling in for them. I don't even know their name on top of my head right now, and he has not been performing the way that they need him to perform.
Yeah.
AJ Boye is probably gonna be traded at the trade deadline. In my personal opinion, I feel like now he wants out. And the Jags are going to be going on the downward spiral. You can see Nick Foles maybe even going, maybe not in this trade deadline, but in the future, I could see Nick Foles being traded.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, the way that Gardner Minshew has been.
That's a good point. Hopefully the Jags aren't on a downhill spiral, but we'll see.
And then the Bengals, you only really have Joe Mixon, who's going to give you a chance to even have this game come close.
Yeah. Yeah. So, moving on, let's go to the Cardinals at the Giants. I have the Giants winning this game, 20-16 by 4 points. Think Danny Dimes comes up big in this game. You know, you got Saquon back, which is huge.
Yeah.
Shepard, he's back.
He's ruled out. Evan Ingram's back.
Ingram is back. Sorry. So 2 big weapons you have back, and with those 2 big weapons coming back, I like the Giants in this one.
Yeah, I have the Giants winning 31-28. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game with no one can play defense on both sides of the ball.
Exactly.
Fantasy owners, give you a little fantasy thing. Start Golden Tate. Sterling Shepard, like we just said, is out. Evan Ingram is back, but
don't know if he's 100%.
Don't know if he's 100% like you just said. If it's Saquon, maybe going to get 15 to 20 touches, which is enough, but Saquon usually gets more. But with Saquon getting less than maybe 20 touches, that's going to leave at least way more receptions on the field for either Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, Cody Lattimore, or even Evan Ingram if he's feeling 100%. But I like the way that Kyler Murray has been playing. David Johnson has not been playing the way that I feel like he should be for this Cardinals team to be legit. But if Saquon can come out and does what he normally does on a weekly basis, then I think the Giants will take the win over the Cardinals.
Yeah, I like the Giants over the Cardinals in that one as well. Let's move on. We got the Dolphins at the Bills. I have the Bills winning 27-10 over the Dolphins.
I have 31-10. Do we even have to?
No, we don't even have to talk about that.
I straight up just wrote in my notes the Bills.
Fitzpatrick's playing. I mean, that's pretty much all they need to know.
I said the Bills will have more defensive touchdowns than the Dolphins have in offensive touchdowns.
There you go. Boom.
That's telling you what this score is going to be like.
Yeah. The Chargers at the Titans. This is a weird score, but I have the Chargers winning 14-12 because
all field goals.
All field goals for the Titans. I don't know. The offense have been struggling, and plus Mariota's bench with Tannehill in there. I don't really like that Titans offense right now. I think the Chargers sneak by, but the Chargers haven't been playing great either. Yeah. I mean, that loss to the Steelers. Did you see all the Steelers fans at their stadium? It was like a home game for the Steelers.
Yeah.
They ended up playing a song for the Steelers. Like, that's played at the Steelers stadium. They ended up playing a song. And all, like, the yellow towels. I mean, I honestly felt bad for the Chargers on that.
Yeah, I have the Chargers winning 17-13. Like you said, the Titans have decided to start Ryan Tannehill over Marcus Mariota.
I don't agree with that.
Me either, but now the Chargers really don't even have to play defense all that much.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill will help out the defense more than he'll help out the offense.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he was a backup. I don't understand the move. I know Marcus Mariota didn't have a good week last week. I understand that. And I know you took him out.
But he's your star. He's your franchise.
He's your franchise quarterback.
Give the dude a chance. I mean, you can't yank him after that. I don't know. I don't agree with it at all.
And I agree, but then I think this is also a game where Melvin Gordon gets back on track and starts becoming the running back that he is, and the reason because he's going to get traded after the end of the season, in my personal opinion. Teams did not want him for the first round pick value, but I feel like he will be traded at the end of the season. I don't feel like they will give him his contract extension. I feel like his extension will go.
I don't either. We talked about this a few podcasts ago.
Yeah,
about Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, his contract extension will go to Austin Eckler, who will be asking for less than half of his money.
Yeah,
and he will go to a team where they need him. But the way that Melvin Gordon's been playing, I don't want Melvin Gordon on my team. He's not worth the money. He's not worth the draft capital I have to give up.
I don't think he's worth the money either.
The money and the draft capital that you have to give up, I don't think Melvin Gordon's even close to worth it.
Yeah. No. Let's move on. We got the Ravens at the Seahawks. This is going to be an outstanding game.
Yeah, this is my favorite game of the week.
One of them.
I have Seahawks winning 28-24.
I have the Seahawks winning 21-19.
I think this is going to be, again, another high-scoring game.
You're not going to win in Seattle.
I had the game a lot closer than I realized with Marcus Peters. I was watching Good Morning Football this morning, of course, and they said that Marcus Peters is still getting acclimated and it still may not be a 100%. He isn't used to the playbook.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things. Marcus Peters is your number one corner. I understand he's going on Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf.
Two outstanding receivers.
But you also have the number one MVP candidate right now, Russell Wilson.
Yeah. So, the Seahawks are too strong in the NFC. Just too strong.
And another thing I put is that when you're a new person in a secondary, you don't know how everyone works. You don't know how Earl Thomas works.
Difficult.
You don't know how Tony Jefferson works. You don't know how Jimmy Smith, if he comes back, Tony Jefferson, towards I say my fault. But you don't know how Marlon Humphrey works. You don't know how Jimmy Smith works. You don't know how Earl Thomas works. You don't know how your linebackers work. You don't know how anyone works. You're new to the system. You know how you play, and you knew how, if Marcus Peters, you knew how the Rams played, and you knew how, Eric Weddle played, and, you knew how Akita Lee played. But you don't know how everyone else in your team plays. I feel like that will hold the Ravens back in the first couple of quarters. I think Marcus Peters gets used to it because him being a pro, he's just going to do his job.
He'll adapt to it, but
again,
how long will it take?
It's how long will it take? And, when you're playing a cover 4 or a cover 2, you don't know how the safeties are over top of you. You don't know if Earl Thomas is trying to lurk, and then there's actually a big hole over there.
Yeah.
You don't know in what coverage how people
should we
play.
Expect to see some holes in that coverage?
I'm expecting some broken coverages, and not on Marcus Peters' fault, but I think it's going to be a lot of confusion because they're also used to having Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey there, or Brandon Carr. They're not used to Marcus Peters. So again, everyone's getting used to each other, and I feel like that makes a little.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, once those guys adapt, they're going to be deadly.
It's going to be nasty, but then the Seahawks are probably the best team in the NFC, and Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll will capitalize on the Ravens' secondary mistakes at the beginning of the game, and I think that's where the Seahawks get their lead. Again, you also have Chris Carson running the ball. He has in the last 3 weeks has had over 100 rushing yards, so he's been rushing the ball fantastic. I think for the Seahawks, again, I'm not saying anything on the Ravens' part. Lamar Jackson is another MVP candidate who had rushed over 100 yards last week too, who is running and passing the ball. I think he had over 150 rushing yards and over 250 passing yards.
And if you're Seattle, you keep winning, but guess who else keeps winning in your division?
The Rams.
And the 49ers.
So
that's what I mean. I'm like the Seahawks are like, hey, win. And then they look up and they're like, man, we're still trailing, But that's going to be that division. That's my favorite division in football.
Because you never knew the 49ers were going to come out and play like the way they were.
This whole season is going to be a battle to see who can win that division. Moving on, we got the Saints at the Bears. I have the Saints beating the Bears 24-16.
I like this game a lot. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think with Alvin Kamara and Jared Cook
Yep, Kamara's out.
And Jared Cook out and Alvin Kamara out. You know, Alvin Kamara being almost the entire offense lately with Michael Thomas. You take half the offense out. Teddy Bridgewater is forced to throw the ball to Michael Thomas, tight again, and hand the ball off to Latavius Murray.
Right.
But the Bears, you have Mitchell Trubisky back, so you're going to lose again. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky is your starting quarterback. They ruled him questionable, but he practiced all week. On Thursday and Friday, he played with get all the starting reps. So Mitchell Trubisky will start tomorrow. They just haven't full out came out and said that he will be starting tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll be in there.
But with him in there, they will lose. I am sorry. I'm not a Trubisky fan. I'm not
Me
a
either.
Trubisky level. He is terrible. Matt Nagy is a good coach. Still learning the offensive mind. He's a great defensive mind. Still learning the offensive mind.
Defensive veteran, offensive rookie.
But there again, as you can tell, that defense with Chuck Pagano is going to be doing great things.
I love Chuck Pagano's defense.
Ryan Ramczyk and Khalil Mack is a matchup I really want to see. Ryan Ramczyk is one of the best tackles in the game versus one of the best pass rushers in the game. So I'm very excited to see how both of them work. I want to see who will really win. Will Khalil Mack get 2 or 3 sacks?
That's what I was
Will
gonna
Ryan
say.
Ramczyk shut him down and he will not get anything? So
I like Khalil Mack though. I think Khalil Mack's gonna get 3 sacks.
3 against Ryan Ramczyk?
Yes.
Oh God! All right, well, let's see.
We'll see. Let's move to the Sunday night game. We got the Eagles at the Cowboys. I got the Cowboys winning by 4, 24-20.
I have Cowboys winning by 1, I believe, in the leg, 28-20.
In the leg.
The 28-27. Zeke has been a Eagles killer.
Oh yeah. That's
killer.
one of the points I made right here is that he's against the Eagles, he puts up stellar numbers. I mean,
over 100 rushing yards, and every time he has faced
he just
the
tears
Eagles,
up Fletcher Cox, just runs right past him. Fletcher Cox can't catch him.
and you're gonna have Malcolm Gallup go off. I mean, not Malcolm.
And you're in Dallas.
Michael Gallup going up. Alshon Jeffrey is gonna play good against the Cowboys secondary, who has not been looking really good. And the Cowboys linebackers have not been looking really good either, like we thought they would. So, fantasy, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think no one can play defense, so I think it's going to be a high-scoring offensive game. You have Zeke starting, you have Michael Gallup starting, if you have Alshon Jeffrey starting, if you have Miles Sanders, I think you flex him. And I think if you have Jordan Howard and you don't have Miles Sanders, I think you flex him.
Miles Sanders.
Or flex Jordan Howard if you have one of the other.
Miles Sanders over Jordan Howard.
But I think they were gonna have 2 really good games against both defenses that have not done really anything all year. So I'm very interested to see who would win this game. But I have the Cowboys winning by 1 just because of how good Zeke does. So
yeah, I can agree with that. I got the Cowboys by 4. We'll see what happens. Good game coming up. Patriots at the Jets Monday night. I got the Patriots winning 27-17. The reason why is because of how Sam Darnold played last week. Nowhere near good enough to beat the Patriots. Nowhere good enough to get down against that Patriots defense. But I do think at some point they can make it a little bit of a game in the first half until the Patriots run away with it.
Yeah, I have Patriots 24, Jets 17. I think the game's gonna be a lot closer than people think.
I do too.
I think Patriots are gonna lead through the whole thing, and then the Sam Darnold will score like 2 touchdowns, and like in the fourth quarter to make it like look interesting, but it really wasn't all game. But I think the game's gonna be closer. Like the score looks closer than usual, but I think the Patriots. I think the Patriots will just wipe them clean.
I think the Patriots are going to dominate in possession time on the ball.
That's a very good point.
And I think that defense is going to get a lot of 3-and-outs, put a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold.
The Patriots want to make Sam Darnold throw the ball.
Yeah.
That's their goal.
Yeah,
if you can make
if they can get the Kessler to throw the ball,
yeah,
they're going to get some interceptions, some turnovers, get some sacks with pressure.
Yeah, if they make Sam Darnold throw the ball, this game will be over in the first half. Don't get me wrong, Sam Darnold's a great quarterback and all, but again, this is his second game back, and you're versing the Cowboys defense, who we thought was going to be one of the best, But now you are versing the best defense.
Yeah.
So let's see how.
Yeah, we'll see Monday night how that works out there. Before we get to our Week 7 injury report, I just saw here a quick news on the Bengals will be without Cordy Glenn for another week, this time not due to injury. So the team announced that he's suspended for disciplinary reasons. So I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati.
No one wants to play for the Bengals.
Yeah, so he's not cooperating. So that's going to be a loss for the Bengals because he was out with injury and now he's going to be out because he's suspended. So just
dummy.
That's just dumb. That's just terrible. All right, so now let's move to our Week 7 injury report. We are going to start with the Saints at the Bears. The Saints ruled out quarterback Drew Brees with a right thumb. We know that. Tight end Jared Cook out with an ankle. Defensive end Trey Hendrickson has a neck injury, and running back Alvin Kamara is going to be out with an ankle injury and a knee injury, and wide receiver Traquan Smith with an ankle injury for Sunday's game. So the Saints are beat up a little bit.
Yeah, and on the Bears side of the ball, you got the best quarterback in the league, Mitchell Trubisky, is questionable right now. And then their guard, Ted Larson, is both questionable. So, you got the best QB in the league, questionable with the left shoulder, what was it? What was your shoulder injury again? I forgot on top of my head. Was it dislocated shoulder, I think? And
yeah,
then,
it was a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, and then you got Ted Larson with a knee injury, who's questionable, but is looking like he may not play. And
I don't think Ted Larson will play.
And could be downgraded.
What I've seen this week, I don't think Ted Larson will play.
I think he'll be downgraded at 4 p.m. to doubtful.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the Rams at the Falcons. The Rams are set to have running back Todd Gurley. He was out with a quad injury, but hopefully he's back in the lineup. But running back Malcolm Brown with an ankle injury is listed doubtful. Linebacker Clay Matthews, still with the broken jaw, will miss another game.
Malcolm Brown really takes off a load with Todd Gurley. So
100%.
So I'm very.
Todd Gurley's going to get all the carries.
That or him or Darrell Henderson. Yeah. So let's see how. I'm very interested to see how they work Todd Gurley back because I feel like the Rams will lead the Falcons all game long. So I'm very interested to see how we're gonna see
how they manipulate that with those running backs there.
And the Falcons are missing Desmond Trufant with a toe injury, which is their CB1. So very interested to see how they are out with their best cornerback. But other than that, they are really healthy for Sunday's game.
They're healthy.
So we're gonna move on to the next game. We have the Dolphins at Bills, and Rashad Jones is out with the chest. We have Avery Moss out with an ankle. And then we have a few players questionable. Xavier Howard with a knee and Jakeem Grant with a hamstring are both questionable.
Yeah,
so
they need to play in that game, man.
Their Pro Bowl cornerback, Xavier Howard, needs to play.
Yeah.
And Rashad Jones came back last week came back last week from injury, played, and then now is injured again with the chest. Seems like he's doing the old Jalen Ramsey and just doesn't want to play because he's a Pro Bowl safety. So I'm very interested to see what happens at the trade deadline. Yeah, if anyone's interested.
I'm interested to see that too.
I think players the Dolphins or the Falcons, or like the Bengals, if you have a good player, you need to trade him and get some value because you're not going anywhere. And I believe Rashad Jones is in the last year of his contract. If he is,
Rashad Jones is in the last year of his contract.
So if he is, go out and go trade him for a second or a third round pick because by the end of the season, you're not going to get anything from him. He's just going to walk away from the team.
Exactly.
So let's see what the Dolphins do there.
For the Bills, you got cornerback Taron Johnson, hamstring injury. Linebacker Matt Milano with a hamstring injury, and linebacker Corey Thompson. The ankle injury got questionable tags for the Bills.
See, Matt Milano just doesn't need to play. He's a star on that defense.
Yeah.
Against the Dolphins, he doesn't need to play. Have him sit out, and that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, have him get more healthy.
Yeah, I agree.
Have him heal up.
And so we're going to move to our next game, the Jags at Bengals.
The Jags at the Bengals. So the Jaguars wide receiver, Dede Westbrook, with the shoulder injury is listed questionable. Hopefully he can play. Wide receiver Marquise Lee with an ankle injury, and tight end GF Swam with a concussion. So
and they've been
ruled out. That's not good for the Jags.
No, and then you look on the Bengals side of the ball. Jesus. The Bengals ruled out AJ Green with an ankle, William Jackson with a shoulder, Drake Kirkpatrick with a knee, Carl Lawson with a hamstring, John Miller with a groin, Andre Smith with an ankle, Corey Glenn with a suspension. Jeez. And on top of it, we're going to put Carlos Dunlap on doubtful.
That's
So no one's questionable, but then you have 7 people missing.
Yeah.
Against the Jags. Like, good luck trying to win that game.
Good luck with that. Moving on, we got the Vikings at the Lions. The Vikings linebacker Ben Gideon with a concussion is out this weekend, and linebacker Kentrell Brothers with a hamstring injury is listed questionable.
Yeah, and the Lions are gonna miss Mike Daniels with a foot injury. Safety Daquan Diggs with a hamstring, Deshaun Hands with an elbow, Darius Slay with a hamstring, and Rick Wagner.
Out with the knee.
So yeah, out with the knee. So you're missing a few players, especially Darius Slay and Rick Wagner. And Deshaun Hand for sure. Actually, my fault.
Yeah,
I'm missing 3 big players, and Mike Daniels, is going to be out for another couple months, a couple weeks. My fault, with a foot injury. But Deshaun Hand with the elbow, Darius Slay with the hamstring, and Rick Wagner with the knee. Man, you're missing a couple big players.
You are
against the Vikings, which is a really good team.
Mm-hmm. Still have the Lions winning.
Yeah, Raiders at Packers, missing. On the Raiders side of the ball, you're missing Tyrell Williams with a foot.
Right.
And then expected to miss, but is doubtful. He's doubtful right now, but is expected to miss the game is Trent Brown.
No, man. He's that tackle for them.
He's
big. He's a great player. Trent Brown's a great player, and he does a great job of protecting the quarterback. So
and Dwayne Harris with an ankle is questionable. With Gabe Jackson with a knee injury is also questionable. So I think if Trent Brown doesn't play because he's doubtful, Gabe Jackson will play. I think vice versa. I think Gabe Jackson's going to play either way because you need Gabe Jackson or Trent Brown.
Yeah.
You would like them both, but you're going to need one or the other. So
right.
I think Gabe will play and Trent Brown will sit out.
All right. On the Packers side of the ball, wide receiver Devontae Adams is out with the toe, and safety Darnell Savage out with the ankle they're both out. Wide receiver Geronimo Allison has a concussion and a chest injury, and tight end Robert Tonyan with a hip injury likely to join them after drawing doubtful tags. Cornerback Tony Brown with a hamstring injury, defensive tackle Kenny Clark with a calf and back injury, and wide receiver Marquise Valdez-Scantling with an ankle and knee. They're listed questionable.
Jeez, the Packers are big.
They're beat up.
When you have your 3 starting wide receivers, if it is Devontae Adams, Geronimo Allison, Martez Valdez-Scantling, or MVS, are all on the injury report, which is not looking good because Devontae Adams is your number 1, Geronimo Allison is your number 2, and MVS is your number 3, and they're both on your injury report. MVS is questionable, so he could have a chance to play. And with Geronimo Allison with a concussion and a chest injury, Yeah, it's doubtful. You don't know if he's going to play. And then, Devontae Adams was turf toe. He's not going to play at all.
Yeah.
So it's really bad for that team. But let's see. They can beat the Raiders, which I think they will.
Yeah, I think so.
So next game, we have the Texans at Colts. And you already know that Titus Howard is out with a knee injury. Greg Mancey with a concussion, out on Sunday. Tashawn Gibson with a hip and a wrist injury. Jonathan Joseph with a hamstring. And Bradley Roby are all considered questionable. But I think Bradley Roby is actually just got moved to doubtful. So instead of Bradley Roby being questionable, I believe Bradley Roby is doubtful to play.
On the Colts side of the ball, we got the wide receiver Paris Campbell, abdomen injury, defensive tackle Taquan Lewis with an ankle injury, and cornerback Kenny Moore with a knee injury. Safety Khalil Hooker with a knee injury will likely miss another game after being listed as doubtful. Cornerback Pierre Desir with a hamstring, and defensive end Justin Houston with a calf injury, and guard Quentin Nelson has a hip injury, and he's listed as questionable.
Yeah, so I think the Colts side of the ball is a little banged up. You got Paris Campbell with an abdomen, and I just want to let you know that Deshaun Jackson is out again with an abdomen injury. This is going to be on week 6 with the same abdomen injury from week 1. I mean, from week 2, my fault. So, you have the same injury for over a month now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how do you think this will affect Paris Campbell, who's a rookie, who's a little younger than Deshaun Jackson, but how do you think this will affect him coming back?
I don't know. I think when he comes back, he's young, everything, but I do think he'll be able to perform like he should be. I think he's going to be able to come back strong, and I think he's going to be able to help the Colts out. I like Paris Campbell. I think he's a good player, good target for Jacoby Brissett. So we'll see.
And Pierre Desir, their star cornerback, and Justin Houston, and their superstar Quentin Nelson is questionable. So you have a bunch of questionable. Malik Hooker, doubtful. Kenny Moore is out, so they're banged up.
Yeah, they're really banged up. Moving on, we got the Cardinals at the Giants. The Cardinals said that running back David Johnson, the ankle and knee injury, and wide receiver Christian Kirk with an ankle injury will be game time decisions. So we'll find out before that game tomorrow. They ruled
90
out
minutes.
90 minutes before that game tomorrow. They ruled out defensive end Zach Allen with a neck injury, and running back DJ Foster with a hamstring injury, and tackle Brett Toth with an illness. So he's sick. Linebacker Dennis Gardick, ankle injury. Defensive end Zach Kerr with an ankle injury as well. Punter Andy Lee with a right hip. Tackle Joshua Miles with an illness. Those are 2 guys now with illnesses. Linebacker Ezekiel Turner with a hamstring. Safety Charles Washington with a shoulder injury, and tight end Max Williams with an ankle injury. They've been listed questionable. That Cardinals team is beat up.
Yeah, they're definitely banged up, and we'll see how they will respond when they're banged up. And then the Giants side of the ball, it's actually looking pretty good. You got Saquon back in the lineup.
Yep.
But you have rookie cornerback Corey
If you're a
Ballantyne.
Giants fan, get excited because your weapons are coming back. They're starting to heal, and they're going to make a big impact.
Yeah, and then you have rookie cornerback Corey Ballantyne, who got a concussion, and Sterling Shepard, who's out with a concussion as well. See, you're missing your number one, but then you get Saquon back, and then you get Ingram back, which Ingram has been your leading receiver this season.
Yep.
So you get your leading receiver and your leading rusher back versus a very hot, in my personal opinion, a very hot rookie team, a very young team with a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. It's good to try to get some of your weapons back.
Yeah, good point.
On the 49ers at Redskins, you had the 49ers defensive tackle DJ Jones, hamstring, running back Kyle Juszczyk, wide receiver Deebo Samuel with the groin, tackle Joe Stanley with the fibula, cornerback Ahkello Witherspoon are all out, and Raheem Mostert is questionable. So they're banged up. They got a bunch of players out, but at least
doesn't matter because look who you're playing.
Yeah,
You're playing the Redskins. They also have one questionable player, cornerback Josh Norman, thigh and a hand injury, got that tag. While tight end Vernon Davis, he's got a concussion. Safety DeShazier Everett with an ankle injury. Linebacker Josh Harvey Clemens with a hamstring injury, and guard Wes Martin with a chest injury. And running back Chris Thompson has a toe injury, and he is going to be ruled out.
So you have everyone ruled out besides Josh Norman. Jeez.
Yep.
So on the Chargers at Titans, on the Chargers side of the ball, you got Justin Jackson with the calf, Justin Jones, defensive tackle with the shoulder, defensive tackle Brandon Mabin with the knee, and on the doubtful side of the ball, you got defensive end Melvin Ingram with a hamstring, and on kicker, questionable Michael Bradley with the right groin is questionable. So Chargers could be a little banged up.
It could be a little different of a game, but you still got Tannehill at QB, so that'll help the Chargers out a little bit. The Titans ruled out linebacker Sheriff Finch with a shoulder injury and cornerback Chris Milton with a calf injury. Linebacker Jayon Brown has a groin injury and he's listed doubtful, so he will likely miss the game as well. Defensive end Reggie Gilbert has a knee injury, and linebacker Cameron Wake has a hamstring injury, and tight end Delaney Walker with an ankle injury were all tagged as questionable, and Delaney Walker has to play.
I think Sarah Finch has to play, in my personal opinion. He is a baller on the defense, and he needs to play. And Cameron Wake, even though he's like 85 years old, he still needs to play. He's still a really good player at his age.
For sure. And Delaney Walker too.
Yeah,
good player.
Well, I believe Ryan Tannehill likes to throw to the tight ends, so
yep, that's why I said.
I get it.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, we got the Ravens at the Seahawks. For the Ravens, Marquise Brown, he's out with an ankle injury, and linebacker Patrick Onwuasor with an ankle injury. He didn't practice for the Ravens this week, and they didn't play last week, but they're listed as questionable for Sunday. Got cornerback Anthony Averett. He's out with an ankle injury. Cornerback Maurice Kennedy has a thigh injury, and tackle Ronnie Stanley with a knee injury is also questionable, while cornerback Jimmy Smith with a knee injury is doubtful.
Yeah, with Jimmy Smith and Kennedy, some cornerbacks will be playing. Your starting tackle, Ronnie Stanley. Let's see how they do on the questionable tag.
Yeah.
But on the Seahawks side of the ball, you already know by tight end Will Dissly with the Achilles out for the rest of the season for the Seahawks. Safety, Delano Hill with an elbow, set to miss the game, but just to let you know, he's listed as doubtful, but he's probably going to miss the game. Ziggy Ansah
most likely.
Yeah. Ziggy Ansah with an ankle, Dwayne Brown with the bicep, DJ Fluker with the hamstring, Quentin Jefferson with an oblique, Bradley McDougall with the back.
The back injury.
Are all questionable.
Bradley McDougall's a good player.
Yeah, so is DJ Fluker and Dwayne Brown. They're both your starting people in your offensive line.
Yeah, so. That's a big loss. So moving on to our last game, we got the Eagles at the Cowboys. The Eagles will face their NFC East rivals without linebacker Nigel Bradham with an ankle injury, wide receiver Deshaun Jackson with an abdomen injury, defensive tackle Timmy Jernigan with a foot injury, and cornerback Avonte Maddox. He's got a concussion and his neck is injured. Tackle Jason Peters with a knee injury, and running back Darren Sproles with a quadricep injury. Cornerback Ronald Darby hamstring, and he's listed questionable after missing the last 3 games.
Yeah, so the Cowboys side of the ball, we have a long list of questionable players
Yeah,
for this.
questionable.
So
And some of these guys need to play, like Amari Cooper. You'll talk about it.
Yeah, so we got Ronald Cobb with the back, Leon Collins with the knee, Amari Cooper with an ankle, Byron Jones with the hamstring, Joe Looney with the back, Zach Martin with the back and ankle, Tyron Smith with an ankle, and the only player that's ruled out is Anthony Brown with the hamstring, so he's ruled out. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 6 starting players on your questionable. Which questionable
6 starters questionable.
And that doesn't even mean that they all will play or all will not play. So you have 3 of your starting linemen. You have a player on your secondary. Byron Jones is your number 1 cornerback. And you have your 2 starting wide receivers on questionable. How do you think this will affect them in any way, even throughout the game if they do play?
I don't. Because the Cowboys are at home, and the offense is not gonna have a problem. I don't think it's gonna affect them at all.
All right, I guess we'll see on Sunday night.
We'll see. That's gonna do it. That's gonna wrap it up for our podcast today. We thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for all the support. Just please, go give us a follow on Spotify. Subscribe on YouTube. Podcast every Saturday and Wednesday. This week, our Wednesday podcast, it's not going to be Wednesday. It's going to be some other day this week, just for this week, though. And we'll keep you guys updated on when that's going to be. And
just follow us on Twitter. You'll know when we do it.
And you know when our podcast will be. And we thank you guys again for listening. And enjoy tomorrow, a big day of football.
Yep, and we'll see you guys Wednesday.
See you.